Welcome to the Go proCast, where we invite business doers who are changing lives by sharing their stories, their strategies and tactics, and who bravely talk about their failures that actually led to their biggest successes. Now it's time to Go Pro with Jeremy Torisk. Hey, welcome back to the Go proCast. This is Jeremy Torisk, your host, and today I'm joined by guest Joe Turchi, and he's been a long-time successful track record of inspiring individuals for success, happiness, and working with them to live a life full of passion and purpose. Joe's been in the life coaching industry for over 30 years, and as a teacher and a mentor in the Philadelphia school system. He's led professional development seminars as well as success leadership classes. And he's led teams of coaches and one-to-one accountability sessions and has helped coach parents to develop their parental responsibility and help them improve their communication skills with their children, which today I think is really a huge component that's missing in the family component there. So please welcome Joseph Turchi to the Go proCast.
Hey, Jeremy, how are you?
Good. It's been a minute since we've done the show, so kicking the rust off and taking the dust off, but it feels good to be back doing these live shows, and happy to have you back with me. And we're looking to roll into 2023 with a lot more of these shows.
Well, this is actually a perfect time, for what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about some goal setting.
Awesome.
And a lot of times, and I'll just get into it a little bit, but then give you a little background.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, this is the perfect time for anybody who wants to accomplish anything. Let's say for everybody sets goals. New Year's is a New Year's resolution, and they set goals, and about 30 days go by, and then you know how the deal goes. You join the gym, and then you quit the gym, and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on. But I actually, literally, just 2 days ago, sat down with my daughter because I have been teaching my kids, and they're adults now, but I've been teaching them since they've been children that it's important for goal setting, just to set anything up. So I sat down with my daughter, who's a pharmaceutical regional manager, and we literally just went through a little review of what happened this year, and then what she wants to accomplish for next year. And I let her do it, but we just have a conversation about it. And I think for today, if anybody's interested in accomplishing things, the message I want to send out is never settle for mediocrity, because you don't have to. And number two is no matter where you are today, there's no telling where you can be in the future if you work for it. You have to put some effort into it. But, I can go on with this, but if there's something in particular you want me to cover, I can cover. But
let's start with the start. How did you get into life coaching, and what's the why behind it? What's the reason that you felt moved to help people with their life, improve their life, especially with finding purpose and passion? Was there something that happened to you that was the difference maker?
I'm going to have to fast forward this because I know we won't have a whole lot of time, but it'll be a good quick story. I have two books that this year talk about goal setting. January of this year, I had books on my idea list that I'm going to write books, but I'm really not a writer. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not a great writer. In fact, fast forward, I grew up in a small little South Philly community neighborhood. When I graduated high school, that's why I'm fast forwarding. We had 9 children in my house. Wow. We were poor. No college education was even discussed because we all just were going to go to work. My whole family worked in the restaurant business. We didn't own a restaurant. We worked in it. So that was my story. That was my picture. And when I graduated high school, my English teacher said, "Turchi, this is a quote, you're going to be the best ditch digger I ever met in my life."
Wow. That's inspiring.
Yeah. Well, now I'm an educator.
You're going to be the ditch digger. It's going to be the best.
Yeah. But now that I'm an educator, from that day, I probably deserved what he said because I didn't read many books. but with the books that I published this year, and again, I decided this year I set goals. I was going to publish 2 books in reference to helping others, send a message out. So my first book is called 7 Laws and Principles That Govern Success. And there's 7 laws in there. And the first one is, just as you said to me, purpose. You got to find your purpose. What's the definite purpose that you want to accomplish? And, I graduated high school, didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Didn't even know didn't even know I was going to go to college, but I ended up, fortunately, got lucky, went to college, went to Penn State, graduated.
Wow.
And I became an educator. And I really am fast forwarding this just to get to the real message.
Yeah.
And the real message, I think, I was thinking about this if we were going to talk today. The real message, I kind of wrote it down. I said, mediocrity is not an option. And no matter where you are today, you can accomplish no matter whatever you want. And my first book will walk you through it.
Yeah.
7 steps. But the 3 steps, I guess, that were so important for me was, number 1 is figuring out your purpose, which that was hard. So my number 7 step, right, or principle, follow this because it's anybody that's listening should know this. Readers are leaders.
Yeah, that's right.
So I go back to my English class that I didn't read a book. I read 1 book, To Kill a Mockingbird. And I said, I just had no interest. But after I finished college and I start working as an educator in the Philadelphia school system, the one thing I didn't want to do was, I came from a broke family. I never wanted to be broke after experiencing the 25 years I did with my parents. Now, my parents were awesome. They taught us values. They taught us, really, really good integrity and character stuff.
Yeah.
But education was not a priority. So I come out and I get my bachelor's degree, and here I take my first teaching position, and I'm going to make $8,900 a year.
Wow.
Wow is right. I knew at that point I was going to be broke again. So I had to figure something out, and I said, okay, here's what I got to do. In the time, it was like real estate was the popular move. So I said, okay, I'm literally telling you, I just picked up 2 real estate books.
Wow.
Followed their pattern, and I invested in my first property, which was cool. So now I get this confidence, which again, part of the part of the thing that I want the listeners to know is you need to develop belief and confidence. So I read this real estate book, and it's called Double Your Money in Real Estate in 2 Years. I did it. Here's the key. I'm not the genius.
Right.
I read a book that
a genius wrote.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I take, in my book, I take these steps to make, and I keep it simple for any reader. It's a real simple first book that I just wanted to get a message out, say, this is not that hard if you can develop confidence, develop belief.
Yeah. Well, what strikes me about one of those parts is that it said double your money or whatever that first part was in 2 years. It sounds like a realistic goal. Today, you see all these things, get rich quick, happens overnight, 30 to 90 days, you'll be a millionaire. And it sounds to me like you had some realistic expectations for your goals.
Well, if you actually think about goal setting, they have an acronym that they use. A lot of coaches do, a lot of mentors do, and it's called SMART goals.
Yeah.
So you have to be, S is for specific, has to be measurable, but the R in SMART is realistic.
Yeah, right.
and the other thing is it has to be with the T, time oriented, which means when you set your goals, you need to set a deadline.
Yeah, again, go back to the R, the realistic, and then deadline. So that way and then one of the things also that kind of what I'm getting for your belief systems and your confidence is little wins. So within your big goal, set some smaller goals so that way you have some modicum of success, a feeling of win, right?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because if you went to my website, on my website, which my life coach business is Inspires Life Coaching. So if you go there, my model that I teach, and I've been coaching for over 30 years, but I use a very simple, it's called plan, do, check, and adjust. And we do it every 30 days. So we get this plan out. Let's say I'm working with you. Yeah. And we get this plan. You and I were so excited about the plan. And then I call my I don't like to call them clients. I call them coachees. I'm the coach, they're the coachee.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Sometimes you get this client thing where you're a client for a therapist, or you're a client for, something else. Whereas I'd rather them be part of my team and be a coachee.
Yeah. So what was that? The plan, do, adjust?
Plan, do. And then again, with my website, you'll see it. It'll say check. So you're going to check your plan now.
Okay. Yeah.
And in that 30-day process, as we're talking, we're going to adjust the plan if it's not working. So we go out there and we start executing the plan. If we think we have to make some adjustments, that's where I'm tying back into you to say it's little wins.
Yeah.
But you can tweak these things,
right,
all the time. But for me, when I read those two books, and I'm going to go back to the same thing, readers are leaders, and anybody that's not reading now can read. It's just a matter of, can you read? And because most of the time we make excuses. And one of the other books I read was The Magic of Thinking Big. In the same process of this real estate process, I start reading more of a psychology approach to this. Like, okay, the magic of thinking big. The first chapter says you got to believe in yourself. And then it deals with confidence. The second chapter, though, talks about excuse-itis. How we just exist and find reasons why. And I'll give you this, as my kids were growing up, a lot of people use the word can't. A lot of people use the word try.
Oh, yeah.
Well, try to me means you're really not expecting to do it.
Right.
So we could, in my house with my three kids, they weren't allowed to use the word can't. They weren't allowed to use the word try. But one other word that we used to have a kind of little like a powwow. When we had a new dictionary come into our house, I'd call my son, who's the oldest, and I'd call my two young daughters, and we'd have a meeting. It was a team meeting. And I'd ask my son to go get my razor blade that I used for, like whatever work. And we'd go to the dictionary, and we literally, people can't believe this, but we literally cut the word quit out.
Yeah, nice.
And my kids don't know what the definition of quit is.
Right.
So,
right.
And again, really Jeremy, I don't want to sound like I'm something special. I just implanted these things because I was broke, didn't want to be broke. So now I invested in the real estate business. All right. And all I did, if your listeners and viewers would understand, all I did was duplicate a process.
Right.
Well, not only did I buy one property, but I ended up having 18 rental properties.
Wow. Hold on, go
ahead.
Lightning strike for that one.
But again, all I did was something that McDonald's does. They duplicate the system. It's a system. You're down in Florida right now. I can go in Florida to get a hamburger in McDonald's, and up in Pennsylvania where I am right now, which we're going to get 12 inches of snow today, by the way, so you should be happy. But I can go get the same hamburger. So it's a duplication process.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then the second thing I did after I realized, okay, this works, I end up opening up an entertainment company with a disc jockey, and I'll fast forward that. But we had one disc jockey working, and I sold a duplication system. So all I did was, through a process, without boring your listeners or viewers, I created the same system 35 times.
Yeah.
So we had 35 disc jockeys now on the street every weekend.
Wow.
Now, what I'm saying all this because I didn't learn any of this except through books.
Yes. Yeah.
If you can see behind right now, there's a bookshelf. I read 90% of those books and never read anything until after college.
Right. Yeah.
So, again, with that happening, you got this broke kid from South Philadelphia creates this system within himself. You know, again, I copied it off somebody. So
Yeah.
if your listeners are there and saying, well, how do I get started? The first thing is you got to believe in yourself.
Yeah. The BS. Right. Belief system.
Yep. And then you have to say, well, what do I really want? And that's where I break down, you know, with my coachees, what do you really want to accomplish? And then I take them through a process. And my process is, no matter what age you are, when you were born, let's say I meet a young guy, 35 years old. And in my book, actually, 7 Laws, I tell a story about a kid who was in his high school and he wanted to be a captain of a ship. And, you know, that's just, to me, it blew me away that this kid was so excited to be a captain. And I was in Florida with him, by the way. We were surfing, we were fishing off the surf in Florida, right by St. Augustine. Okay. And he says to me this, and I went, oh my God. I was so fired up. I got so excited. Yeah. Here's the other key. Everything today that we're learning is that you really have to go out and visualize this stuff.
Yeah.
You have to go kind of manifest it in your brain. So what I did with this high school kid, I took him to St. Augustine Marina, and we literally sat in a 12-foot boat. From the 12-foot boat, I took him to a 25-foot boat. From that, I took him and I sat him in a yacht. This is a God's honest truth. I mean, I didn't know how we were going to talk today, but it's perfect that you're sharing this because I'm down in Florida with this high school kid, and we sit in this 55-foot yacht, and he's so fired up. His eyes are like silver dollars. But he's in 9th grade.
Right.
Well, I coached him through the process that today he's on the Gulf of Mexico, a captain of a 320-foot ship.
Wow. Wow, that's incredible.
But it just goes through this.
For him, too, to have him be in a place, be next to a person, share a dream, a desire with a. Did you know him when you're on the beach?
Yeah. Well, he was a young kid from Philadelphia. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So he shares with you this. So a lot of people look at people, and you are older than him at the time, and they think, oh, what is, we can't connect on anything. And so they don't share their vision. And that goes to show you that he had also the foresight to be a little bit more trusting and vulnerable, with you and authentic. And he allows you to help him too. It's a two-way street. You want to help people, but people have to want to be helped.
No question about it. And that's, again, as a coach, sad to say, sometimes I fire myself.
Right. Yes. I smell what you're stepping in.
Because you can help people as much as they want, but if they don't want it enough, they're not going to get it. And so
they're just not for each other.
Back to another with this in my book, The 7 Laws. Again, the way I worked with this kid, his name was Eric. Number one is you have to have a dream. Yeah. And from that dream, you have to believe that you can accomplish the dream. But the most important thing in the process is making a commitment. Yeah. See, because when I teach, there's a dream on this side, but there's a goal on the other side. And the difference between the dream and the goal is putting a deadline on it. Yeah. Let's just say, and I'll give you an example. In my real estate business, I would say I want to own 5 properties by blank. Yeah. So you'll have to have a date, a deadline on it. But for this kid, Eric, he had the dream of the captain, we had to get this belief system, where you instill things. So I showed him some schools where they taught you how to become a captain. So now he's believing it more. The commitment on his part was he went to Maine Maritime Academy and spent 4 years there.
Wow.
Came out, and that was an awesome school. Awesome school. He came out as what they called a small vessel operation. But what they did in there, they had a simulation teaching process where they showed you how to take these ships into different ports around the world.
Yeah. I've seen a documentary on that school, I think.
Yeah, and it was so today he's living his dream.
Yeah.
But I started that with saying I really don't care what age you are right now.
Right.
Because I tell people who I work with, today's the first day of the rest of your life.
That's right.
Forget about the past. I actually call the past, I tell them it's dry cement.
Yeah.
And the only way to dry cement, and what happens with the dry cement, we have such a negative environment out in our world today that everybody's telling you can't do stuff. Everybody's saying the sky is falling. In my second book, The Quotationary Manifesto, it is a 12-year process of 12-year work that I read all these quotes.
Wow.
And I kept them in this kind of file because I knew I was going to write a book at some point in time for your listeners, for the readers to wake up every day. And the book's subtitles, a positive daily dose of inspiration to instill motivation and undergo transformation.
Yes.
So imagine if you read a few quotes every day from a book like that gets you to the point where you feel excited to wake up every day.
Yes.
You feel excited to do something. So that dry cement, what I share with them is I said, you can spend a whole lot of time with your jackhammer in your brain and dig the past up of all your failures, or you can forget about them.
Yeah.
And let's start now and let's go out and really shoot the arrow to see where you want to go.
Absolutely.
And everything is possible. Everything is possible.
I like your second book, the Quotation Manifesto, because it sounds like it's a book I can wake up, flip open to a page, highlight the quote, cut it out, put it on my mirror, watch it for a couple of days, put it into effect. And that's a book you could use all year long, just kind of going through at a random order to say, hey, what is the universe going to give me today? And then, flip it open and there it is. And then you live by that. And that sounds like a good positive roadmap for people who just don't know where to turn for inspiration.
Well, if you look at it, it's quotationary.
Yep.
I designed it like a dictionary. If you go to the back, you can pick whatever feeling or need that you want for the day. Let's say you want to do leadership. You go to the back, look up L, because it goes from A to Z.
Nice.
It'll tell you the pages of leadership. Leadership probably has about 4 or 5 pages in my book.
Beautiful.
Because it's important. But you can go right to leadership for that day. You can go for grief if you want to deal with grief. So I created it like a dictionary alphabetically. And that's why I call it the quotationary.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I know I've been on Amazon, so go to Amazon.com and then you just type in the search button, Joseph Turchi, Turchi, and you'll get both of the books there. You'll see both of the books there. It's the 7 laws and principles that govern success, a proven simple step process to achieve happiness with less stress, which is important. And then your second book is the Quotationary Manifesto, a positive daily dose of inspiration to instill motivation and undergo transformation.
Yep.
Joseph, I think we're going to have a part 2 on here because I do appreciate everything that you brought to the table today, especially coming back from a long downtime. So I'm fired up to do this again. How about sometime early first quarter next year to 23, we have you back on to expand a little bit and see how the book is doing, and let's get some other people inspired.
That sounds awesome, Jeremy. I appreciate you having me on, but I just hope your listeners, I call it nuggets.
Yes.
I hope I gave them a couple nuggets to believe in themselves and just let them know that attitude can bring you further than you can imagine.
Yeah, that's what I call the show, the Go proCast, because once you're doing something and you're not getting paid for it, that's a hobby, right? So it's time
right.
When you want to do something, you got to go pro, and that's go all in, go all out. Yep. And what got you here won't get you there, but you have to learn from that. So thank you, Joseph. Coach Joe, we're going to talk to you again.
Enjoy the hot weather down here, my brother.
I will. I'll send you some sunshine. Stand by. I'll be right back. So thanks again for my guest, Joseph Turchi, today. I mean, the guy is just so full of life, and I love his accent too. So, and I want to thank a shout out to Corey Disson, who brought Joe and I together for this episode of the Go proCast. And also wanted to let you know that today we are sponsored by The Sales Funnel, a book written by Ray Leon. And I'm the first certified sales funnel coach in the U.S. So if you're interested in working on a sales coaching platform for your sales team, this is not your typical funnel. It's not a lead gen process. This happens after you meet your lead, after you're face-to-face with your prospect. It's a system that goes from hello to contract. So please come to me and let me know how I can help train up your sales folks for the new year, because it is time to get down to business and go pro. We'll see you on the next episode of the Go proCast.